Good morning, Solaris 7. Calgary Battletech brings you Uncivil Discourse with your hosts, Brett, Lee, and commentary from Jacques. Arena 6 Road in the Hills was very busy this week. It seems we had 3 different matches played here, and again, one of them came in from the wrong entrances. This must be the tech's faults, clearly not a scheduling issue.
Road signs may need to be installed. Turn left at Albuquerque.
How can they not pay attention to the guys in the bright orange vests waving the batons that should be lit, saying, go this way, not, no, don't go this way, and then drop them and then walk away. I don't know. Maybe they need to clean the canopy glass. Who knows?
Yeah, that brings a good point, Jacques, about the importance of communication. We need to make sure that we communicate with the opponents, your admin, and with your techs. We need to know when you're not showing up, when you're short on time, and when special accommodations need to be made. Things like notations on your mech sheets. They need to be broken into rounds and note the big events like head kills, ammo explosions, pilots going to sleep on easy numbers, and most importantly, what mech got the kill. We are tracking kills for and against, as well as I'm trying to, for the fun of it, being able to track the most deadly machines in League. I know I got a head kill with my Centurion this past week. However, I know some people out there that are doing much better than that. So I'd like to hear what you get and who did what. So please mark that down on your sheets.
And another one, skills. People, we've got to get those skills in. I mean, do we want to keep giving the admins aneurysms as much as we like to watch them twitch? Let's make life easy for them. Let's get those skill spins in, people, just so we can have an idea of, what you're doing, what your opponent's going to be doing. It just makes it easy for everybody around. Let's get some skill spins in.
All right, let's start off today with a synopsis of last week's matchups. Game numero uno, Clan Cobra Chickens faced off against the Blitzkrieg Jezebels out on one of the Reaches maps. One of our custom map sets that we've got set up, map set 5. Currently, this one still needs a name. And we're currently referring to it as Plains Lakes because, hey, it's got both some plains and some small lakes.
So put in some comments in the comment section on YouTube and make sure you hit that like button, people.
Blitzkrieg's Vulcan got a head kill against the Clan Cobra Chicken Hunchback. The Blitzkrieg's Trebuchet shot off the third limb of the Clan Cobra Chicken Orion. The Clan Cobra Chicken Orion hits the ammo on the Blitzkrieg's Trebuchet, and the Clan Cobra Chicken Archer cored the Blitzkrieg Cestus. I hear that mech had a pretty good day. All in all, it ended up in a 2-2 tie.
This was a really good game. It was a good game to watch. Good, exciting, had lots of twists, lots of turns. Again, Clan Cobra Chicken seemed like they were going to dominate through the entire thing, and then the goddesses of luck decided, nope, you're not. The Trebuchet getting the ammo bin hit, oh, that was beautiful. Fireworks everywhere, really showed it off for the kids. Doing it the hard way for the Archer, coring through the Cestus. I mean, the Cestus got a decent amount of armor on it, and going through the center torso the way it did, and just the way that Archer pilot is doubling up on those missiles. It is going to be scary, especially if they go with missile grouping on that one. Well, everybody got what they wanted, a little bit ahead in the game with that Hunchback kill. And the Orion seems to be losing its limbs like crazy. I swear, the pilot of the Orion is using the Black Knight from the old 20th century Monty Python movies as an inspiration.
Alrighty, that'll take us to game numero dos. The Shitehawks and Macro Stables face off in Arena 11, difficult ground. Game ends in a 0-0 tie. Not much to see here, folks.
Well, it was a short game, a little bit over 2.5 hours. That's one of the communication things that we needed to talk about. We need to make sure that in those situations, your opponent is aware ahead of time that there might be a limited amount of time so that they can ask to reschedule if that works out for them better.
I'm just hoping the fact that these mechs went back to the stables and the paddocks without any damage. I hope the mech warriors bought the techs some beers and said, thank you very much. You get a week off.
All right. Game number 3, the Red Sun Irregulars versus the Crimson Ronin. This is the Battle of the Red. Slug it out in Arena 6, Road in the Hills. One of our multiple matches on Road in the Hills. 2-0 win for the Ronin. Two of the Crimson Ronin were missing legs and could have been killed.
From the looks of it, this battle had a lot of damage being thrown back and forth and a little bit more consistent shot placement. It could have been easily a 4-0 win for the Ronin.
This one was curious. It was very cautious. Could have been a little bit more aggressive. Wasn't the most exciting match, but still got a win in the win column.
That'll take us into game number 4. Riston's Rogues versus the Ghost Legion. Also out on the reaches. Map number 4. Plains with lots of scattered trees. And some nice level 2 line of sight blocking hills down almost kind of right through the middle.
This was totally the game to watch, just like we predicted last week.
Oh, this was a slugfest. This was purely knock down, drag out, in your face fighting. This is what Solaris 7's all about. All the way to the wall, no mercy. This was a heck of a game to watch. There was damage everywhere. A couple of floating criticals that could have hit ammo bins, but didn't hit ammo bins. Some twists, some turns. All in all, was a really good game.
Yeah, this was a really enjoyable game. It always is. Playing Jeff from the Riston's Rogues. Him and I go way back. It was a good game. We hit, I think it was 16. It was 16 turns. It was just a really good throwdown. There was a whole lot of nail-biting instances where the Wolverine took a floater to the torso and it's, there's ammo and engines in there. And it gets a heat sink. Takes a floating critical to the head and gets 2, and it's life support and it's sensors. So the mech's still in there when it could be out. So many games we're seeing people getting head capped, and that mech just lasted all day long.
Yeah, and that'll actually be a great thing for a lot of matches when you get those almost kills or exciting moments that could have been huge but weren't. Yeah, those make for some really memorable games.
Then near the end, for the last couple of rounds, it was the Gunslinger versus 3, and some of those big mechs with the twin Gauss rifles, it just shows how valuable they are, even if they are really big BV things.
Yeah. We're also seeing that some of the matches are starting to move up in number of rounds per game. This one timed out at 16 rounds. Pretty good game.
Game number 5, we see the Merrick Marauders march through the wooded hills, arena number 8, to face off against the Cavalier Commandos. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this match, Lee?
This was the first time I've ever played against Dave. From what I've been told, he's been around for a long time, and he's a good player. The match started off tentatively. Last week, I had mentioned that I had been viewing both of our lances and seeing how close they really are. It came down to a couple of lucky shots. About halfway, my Centurion was able to head cap his awesome, and just lucky turn, twist, shot off, head went off. Then my Stalker was able to kill his Phoenix Hawk with 3 limb removals, but that was after his Phoenix Hawk came in and shot my Centurion in the back, hitting my LRM-10 ammo. The Crusader killed the T-Bolt with an ammo explosion, which didn't actually destroy the mech, but did kill the pilot. I'd gotten 5 head hits in 2 turns, which really was starting to wear on Dave's pilots. However, I just about snatched defeat from the jaws of victory by losing consciousness on my Stalker, needing 3s to succeed. I rolled my famous Snake Eyes. Down it went. Luckily, it had pretty much full armor, so I was able to weather the couple of turns of direct fire it was taken, and was able to get back into the game.
You didn't lose a mech to a fall down? That's amazing. The arena guys must have crushed down all the big sharp rocks for you to find. Dave is a heck of a player. I've seen him played before. He's very methodical. Tries to look for the advantage, and he can take it. And this one did come down to a bit of luck. Nice to see that the Marauders are still thumping on pilots with ammo explosions, making their brains ooze. But it was a good win for the Marauders.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that those head-capping weapons aren't just Gauss rifles. People got to keep an eye out for those AC-20s as well. Game number 6, Executive Outcome versus the Killer Bunnies, facing off in the Winter Plains Reaches map, one of our custom maps number 2. The Executive Outcome kills the Dragonfire in turn 6 with an engine kill. It was obviously mass fire from everybody coming in and consistent. This is just one of those downsides. XL engines give you lots of extra weight and firepower, but it makes your mechs a lot more easy to take out. The Executive Outcome Orion headcapped the Zeus, and that's all the kills that we saw in this game. Lee, What do you think about it?
Well, I was going over the mech sheets, the after action, to set up the after action reports, and there was a lot of scattered damage on the Executive Outcomes mechs. There was a lot of fire at some pretty high numbers trying to eliminate that Griffin, and it ended up being a little too much fire going at it and not enough at bigger thumper mechs like the Banshee. The game did come out as an executive win, 2-0, but I'm pretty sure the Killer Bunnies had a good chance with this one. I think we had a good shot at being right this time, Jacques.
Being able to put damage on target is great, but if you can't put the damage in the same location, it's not so great. But when all's said and done, the Bunnies put up a heck of a fight. Didn't help the fact they lost one to a head, one to an XL engine. Like Brett said, they might be lighter. They might give you some more bang, but when you lose an engine, you lose your mech.
That'll take us to Game 7. The 55th Shadow Division truck on down and march off against Carstairs Stables. Again, Arena 6 rode in the hills, getting lots of views this time.
Yeah, this map's getting a lot of activity. The score was 4-0 for the Shadows. Shadow Division Banshee 3S dishing out a lot of punishment, killing both the Carstairs Thunderbolt and the Awesomeness match. The 55th Shadow Divisions, I think, are going to be top this year, or at least very close to the top. I hate to say it, the guys to the north are pretty tough players. Come on, guys. We've got to represent Calgary.
The one thing I really had to figure out what was going on with the Carstairs Stable Wolverine when he went into the water. Fell down, popped its torso, and it flooded it. At least it wasn't the head, but still, a little bit of an embarrassing moment for that pilot. And the 55th Shadow Division shootist. That thing is a sponge. It just won't die. It's the cockroach of this league. You can hit it. You can fire at it. You could probably drop a rock on it, and it still will not die. That is going to be the mech. That is going to be the bane of everybody's existence. I am very sure. Even if it is got the short-range autocannon 20. It just won't die. And Lee, you're right. This is going to be the team to watch. This is going to be the spoiler. Will the Northern guys be able to take the bragging rights back up north? We shall see.
All right, going into game number 8, the first Clovis Lancers faced off against the Draconis Spirits in the Plains of Death, Arena number 10.
Yeah, this game ended up being a 3-0 Lancer victory. And the Lancers were able to headcap the Spirits Awesome, exploding some Stalker bits by using its own ammo against it. And then it came back around shortly thereafter to do the same thing to the Spirits Wolverine. That Spirits Wolverine was very reliable this game, landing not only just 1, but 2 kicks to the rifleman, and hitting almost every shot it took with that Clan ER medium laser. Probably the Draconis Spirits MVP of the day.
And did you see that Lancer's rifleman? It just wouldn't die. It had a whole herd of horses worth of horseshoes in that cockpit with that pilot. I mean, taking damage, soaking it up when the riflemen are notoriously thin for armor. It even stood up, missing a leg with flip arms. With flip arms! Can you believe that? That was one of the better parts of this series of fights this week.
This will bring us into our last match of this round, game number 9. Hubris Inc. call out and show up against the Inherjar on Arena 6, Road in the Hills. Man, we got to make sure the techs are only letting in 1 match per arena here.
Either that or we're going to have to pay extra for the landscaping. The summary score, once again, 4-2. Dragonfire lost its head. The Wolverine and Emperor, their left torso XL engines, and the Vulcan went down to a center torso core that started in the left torso as the Devastator pumped both Gauss rifles in at the same time. This team's left itself open to some new possibilities.
I heard a rumor that the stable master of the Einhiljar once sponsored a Capellan team in a league out in the Confederation, and it just got me thinking that you'd think that he would explain to his pilots not to stand on a lower level than a heavy mech and have the head kicked off, but who knows? Still a good match. It's good to see one of the newer players in this league racking up some more wins too. We're going to have a lot of spoilers this season. I don't think it's going to be a veteran taking the top prize this year. I think we're going to have one of the newer players take.
I think that the Enherjar manager has been showing training videos from the Clan Cobra Chickens to his pilots. Jock, do you have some awards for us this week?
Okay, boys and girls, the moment has arrived that you've all been waiting for. Jacques Awards. The marks of fame or shame from this week's matches. First one up, That's good! For the Einhiljar Dragon, who lost its head to the field goal conversion from Hubris Inc.'s Zeus. The second one that we're coming up with is
Literally too angry to die.
And that goes to the rifleman that just would not die. Soaked it up like a sponge, stood up with the flip arms. My friend, I raise my glass to you.
All right, and that'll take us into the interview. This week, we have a special guest from the manager, Chris, of the Einhiljar Stables. Lee, take away that interview.
Well, I'd like to welcome Chris Morschfelder. He is the commander of the Einhiljar.
That would be the Einherjar.
Gesundheit. And he's the commander of that unit. We are doing the interview with him to see what he thinks about Battletech League and to answer a few fun questions. We'll lead into the first ones because you are a 3 or 4 year veteran of League?
About that, yeah. I could have sworn I only played 1 year in the league that Bruce was running, but it seems like it was actually 2 or 3 years. So I think this is either my 3rd or 4th year of actual league play.
Excellent. Yeah, I know it's been a while. Like I know you played for quite a few seasons. So
Okay.
Question number 1: how long have you been playing and collecting Battletech materials?
Well, I was introduced to BattleTech in 1990 when I was in grade 9, and a classmate of mine showed it to me, and I wish I was still in contact with that person today because I'd thank him for the massive amounts of money I've spent on this game.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting in my game room surrounded by hundreds of miniatures and a couple hundred books, and if anybody is an enabler, that would be David from grade 9 at Sir John Franklin. So
Yeah, I thought I had a decent collection of minis until I saw yours.
Yep. I keep telling people, bring your spouses over here so they can see what I have so that they know what you have isn't really that much in comparison.
Yeah, for sure. I think Heather really appreciates that. So, moving on to question number 2. Why did you pick a team name that only 0.1% of the world can pronounce?
Because it's fun watching people struggle to pronounce it.
Oh, yeah, I can't. I have tried repeatedly. I think you and John are the only two that can do it off the top of your heads.
That's because we both listen to Manowar. Manowar is like Scandinavian country metal band that focuses primarily on Norse-themed metal. So Einherjar actually comes from Norse mythology. It's the name of the warriors who have died in battle, who then continue to fight in Valhalla.
Oh, right on. Okay, cool. That actually is a really good explanation. Thank you. Still not going to be able to pronounce it, but thank you for explaining it.
Especially since my entire lance died last game, so I figure it's an even more appropriate name for them.
So, what positive and negatives do you find between the second version of League and our current one?
Well, I do find there's so much less bookkeeping and homework to do. Old League was very detailed and had a lot of fun things that you could do, but the whole trying to keep track of your points for doing repairs and replacing pilots, and it just took one bad game and you're in the hole for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So I just found that it sucked away the fun if you had an unfortunate game. And I know a lot of other players either had bad games that screwed them for the rest of the season, or they opted out of completing games that would have put them so far in the hole they never would have seen daylight again.
Yeah, that was actually one thing that I was really concerned about making sure we didn't do this time. Was I wanted to simplify it. I didn't want it to be as complicated, as much fun as the complicated economy was, with the fact that people were paying for it and the amount of time we were committing to playing. It was just being way too cumbersome and way too heartbreaking when a team would collapse.
Oh yeah, like I remember playing against somebody, and I think turn 2, one of my mechs took the head off of his assault mech, and it had not been touched, and it's like, oh, I feel so bad for them.
Yep.
Of course, it happened to me a couple times too, which is how I ended up with an unnamed pilot who just had a number after a while.
Yep, prisoner number, blah, 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 blah. Yep.
Exactly, Capellan Penal Service.
So moving on, question number 4 is your Dragonfire planning on keeping its feet at any of its future games? Maybe a piloting skill purchase?
Technically, it did not fall down in game 2 until its head was kicked off by the cataphract.
Yeah, just a little bit of a Nike smear on the end of his shoe.
Just a bit. Of course, my Emperor turned around and smeared the cataphract all over the battlefield with an ammo explosion. So payback was had till the Emperor died later that turn too.
Well, and you know what? That's Battletech, especially Battletech League when we're not worrying about repairs. It's just balls to the walls. You just go straight at each other and hammer each other with the best firepower possible. And at that point, it's maneuvering and skills. And then, of course, dice.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah, you can be the best tactician in the world, but if your dice turn on you, there's not a lot you can do.
Well, this is awesome, Chris. Thank you so much for joining me for the interview. Just to wrap things up, do you have any comments for your future opponents?
Stop killing my Dragonfire, please. I'd like it to last past turn 7, which I don't think it has yet.
You have now put a crosshairs on Dragonfire. It's going to see nothing but Gauss rifles from now on.
Well, happily, it's fairly quick for a heavy mech, so I'll just have to find hills to hide behind.
Right on. Well, thank you so much, Chris. It was great to interview you, and I look forward to seeing you on this upcoming Sunday.
Not a problem. I'm looking forward to facing JP again.
Excellent. Great night.
You as well.
Now that we have the weekend review taken care of, let's see who has gotten some upgrades and chosen to spend some of those skill points that they get every match. The Merrick Marauders picking up Underworld Connections on his Centurion, going with that Endo Steel upgrade to get some extra tonnage in there. I have picked up on the Warhammer Engineer for some double heatsinks. The Carstairs Stables Wolverine picks up Mech Jitsu. That's going to be pretty interesting. Executive Outcomes Griffin picks up Bribery. I believe this is the second mech in the season that's picked up Bribery. The 55th Shadow Division Banshee goes with some Underworld Connections and ends up getting some ferrofibrous armor. The Clan Cobra Chickens Hunchback has decided, you know what? Maybe missiles are a good thing. They've reassigned into the Hunchback 4J with the 2 LRM-10s. Macro Stables, Warhammer, Engineer, double heatsinks. I'm seeing a pattern here. We have the Enhiljar Wolverine picking up Personal Vendetta. That should be pretty interesting for watching how that mech's performing going forward. Blitzkrieg Jezebels. The Devastator's going to pick up Lethargic. They got the skill right. They're going to have some good times going forward with that now. Cavalier Commandos. Awesome. He's been banking just to get that full-on gunnery. Going to see a lot more accurate firepower coming out of that mech. Speaking of gunnery, we also have the Hubris Inc. Devastator picking that up as well. First Clovis Lancers, Archer, has bribed his technicians to take those 2 medium pulses out of the back and put them forward. Riston's Rogues, the Archer, coming in with Wily Vet for some Clan Ferrofibrous armor and doing some wily shenanigans to get the Banshee engineered as well, also with double heatsinks. Draconis Spirit is really putting in some work on that Stalker. They're picking up Technician to take out 1 ton of SRM ammo to put in case. And they picked up the Comstar faction skill, Bullseye. So he's going to be doing some indirect fire, I think, next game. Red Sun's Irregulars sneak in under the wire and grab their Warhammer with some engineering, also for double heatsinks. Shitehawks look at the Jagger mech and say, this ain't a really good chassis. We're going to upgrade that into a Warhammer 6R. I'd be willing to bet next week we see them upgrade that Warhammer with double heatsinks as well, following the trend. Those Warhammers just become murderous zombies once they've got those double heatsinks in there.
Yeah, I completely agree, Brett. I'm seeing a lot of very predictable mech skill purchases. Endo Steel, double heatsinks, some reassignments to fix some mechs that just weren't quite right when they first started, but with a little bit of tweaking or a little bit of bribery, they're able to get into something a little bit better. Gunnery is actually a bit of a surprise. There's a lot of specific skills out there that give you very much similar to gunnery skills, like favorite weapon, which was what I was expecting to see on just about every awesome in the field, as well as skills like, of course, engineer to double up heatsinks.
Everybody's sort of jockeying around. I got to agree with Lee that after a couple of fights in, they're seeing what works, they're seeing what doesn't, they're fixing what doesn't work, going with stuff that'll make it work. The one skill that I don't think a lot of people really think about is bribery. You've got, of course, the 2 pirate groups running bribery so they can get a bit of an edge on their choice of field side. But I think the more people face that skill, the more they're going to look at it just to be able to either A, get an advantage over an opponent who does not have it, or equalize it out versus an opponent who does.
I'm pretty confident that the first half of the season, we're going to see a bunch of those skills being taken: engineer, technician, reassignment, getting everybody into the lance that they want to be running. And then the second half, we're going to start seeing some of those more exoteric skills like lethargic and favorite weapon, some of the mobility ones like mobile fire.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised to see Mekjutsu picked, though it's a great skill. I'm really glad to see some of those physical combat skills coming in. So, with all those skills chosen, we're going to get into the week 3 matches. Game 1, we'll see the Kevlar Commandos with a 1-1 record facing off against our favorite lance to pick on, the Clan Cobra Chickens. They're running a 0-1-1 record so far. They're going to try to capitalize with some of that momentum they got in their tie to offset that loss. I'm going to take a bet again, and this time I'm actually going to bet on John. Jacques, man, going to start showing you some love. I think you're going to start seeing some momentum.
I got to say, I think the Chickens are looking for that first win here. Agreeing with you, Lee. My money's on the Commandos here, but I think it's going to be a tried and true stable that don't usually put down big wins, but it's going to be a solid bet in my book for who comes out on top.
These teams and all the various leagues have never faced each other. So you have 2 teams that have no record of fighting each other. This is going to be a very interesting thinking game. This one's going to be a lot of jockeying for position. Cobra Chicken's going to have to really worry about that awesome with the gunnery. They've got their own awesome, but he hasn't put anything on it. The Cobra Chickens have been focusing on tech upgrades rather than actual skills. This one, it's going to be a close one, but I honestly think the Cobra Chickens are probably going to play for a tie.
So game 2 is going to be the Red Suns Irregulars, who are sitting at 1-1, and they match up against the Blitzkrieg Jezebels, who are sitting at 2 ties, which does make them undefeated so far this season. My money is going to be on the Blitzkrieg Jezebels. They're playing tight games. They're playing not that conservatively, but the numbers just aren't falling in their way to actually crush a team. I'm not betting on my wife because I want to sleep in my own bed. I honestly think that Heather has a really good chance in this match.
Well, if somebody would take the bet, I would put money on the Red Suns this time. They're bringing it all to the table. They're coming off. They really blitz their opponents. I just don't think the Jezebels can hold up to that kind of tactic being used against them. I don't think they're used to the all-or-nothing, in-your-face style that the Red Suns are coming out with.
The Jezebels, their grouping on those Gauss rifle hits are just amazing. That's going to be the equalizer in this game. How often they can bring those Gausses to bear and how many times they can pair it up.
That lethargic skill is going to do her well. So game 3 is going to have the Carstairs Stables, who are sitting at 0-2-0, taking aim to shoot out the Shitehawks, sitting at 0-1-1 from the sky. I'm going to say the Carstairs continue to stumble, allow the Shitehawks to finally get their first win of the season. Shitehawks need to stay focused and really try to use that upgrade from the Jagermech to the Warhammer to crush their opponents for once.
This is going to be a lower scoring game. My prediction's 3-2 for Carstairs roasting some Shitehawks with aggressive in-your-face playstyle that they've got going on. They picked up Mekjutsu on that Wolverine. The Wolverine's got mask. He clearly likes to blitz and is really looking at getting in your face. That is the only thing that went wrong for him in the previous week, where he went, I'm full armor, I'm going to blitz up, and then he just did not expect to fail that piloting check as he got slapped down from the Victor putting an AC-20 in his torso. Falling in water killed him. If there's no water on this map, absolutely it's going to go to Carstairs.
This one is going to come down to, did they bet on the right move, swapping out the Jagermech for the Warhammer? I think that's going to have a big factor in this game. A little bit more firepower, a little bit more staying power. But this one's going to be, again, 3-2. I'm going to have to give this one to Carstairs.
All right, well, we're moving on to Game 4, which is the 55th Shadow Division, who are sitting at almost top of the league, hunting the Killer Bunnies, who are a 1-1 game with a close loss against the Executive Outcomes. I don't want to say it, but the 55th Shadow Division is looking so hot right now, I don't think anybody can beat them, even though I really do think the Killer Bunnies has a great chance of being the upset team.
I'm calling a bunny victory here. Looking to repeat round 1 success and prove that they have what it takes to be a contender this season. Plus, those Northern Shadow Division won't be casting any shadows today. They have 3 mechs on the ground, 3-2 Bunny victory.
This one's going to the Bunnies, mainly because I can't stand the Zealots. It's got to happen. They're going to get thumped. They might be a contender, but they're going to get thumped, and the Bunnies are going to thump them.
Well, good luck to the Bunnies. Game 5, Macross Stables, who are sitting at 1 loss and 1 tie, who are challenging the Riston Rogues, 1 win and 1 tie. Also, another one of those oddly unbeaten teams. If I was to put my money down on the game, Riston Rogues. Jeff is one of our top contenders and is a tough team. He definitely showed you the ropes there, Brett.
Absolutely. It was a really good game. The Rogues are going to stick it to their opponent this week, repeating a 3-2 victory here. This experienced stable has spent the first couple of games using their skills to make sure everything is tip-top condition. They've swapped out the Kentaro to a better version that fits their playstyle. They've done some upgrades, so the mechs are all in peak performance and really going to show what the technology can do for them.
I'm going to say this one's going to the Rogues as well. They're going to be 2-0-1. It's going to be a lot of experience versus luck is what I think it's going to come down to. But this one's definitely going to go to the Rogues.
Moving on to Game 6, which sees the Crimson Ronin at 1-1, 1 tie, 1 loss, versus the Clovis Lancers with the exact same record, 1-1. These two teams are looking to move up into the upper echelons of the standings. I think it's going to be a rough game. Either a 3-2 win or a 4-3 win for the, I'm going to say, Crimson Ronin.
I'm going to go off the rails here. I'm calling it a 3-3 tie, possibly a 4-4 tie. This game is going to be just who happens to have the last mech standing, and or if it times out, who still hasn't fallen down.
This one's going to be like two junkyard dogs going at it. This one's going to be up close, in your face, dirt down and dirty fighting. When the dust clears, I'm going to give this to the Crimson Ronin. They're going to pull it off, but it's going to be expensive. It's going to be a close game, probably 3-2.
Oh, we all seem to be pretty close on the same guessing on that one, even with different outcomes. Game 7 is going to see our own Ghost Legion, 1 win, 1 loss, and no ties, versus Hubris Inc., top of the league, 2-0. Actually, I don't think Hubris Inc. is our top team. It's the 50th Shadow Division. I misspoke there. Brett, I'm going to give it to you. I think you're coming off a devastatingly disappointing match against Jeff, where you should have had a little bit better showing. I think you're going to come in angry and show Hubris Inc. What veteran players can do.
These two teams faced off in a preseason expedition match where there was much Gauss rifles to the heads going on. This is another match where we're going to see 2 Gauss rifles per side. It's all going to come down to what the map is, but it should be good to see how it flares out at the end of the day.
I'm going to give this one to Hubris just because she's on the momentum. She's on the roll. I think she can pull it off. It's not going to be a blowout, but I think those Gauss rifles are going to be pretty good use for her. It's going to be another close one, 3-2, maybe even 2-1, depending on how the dice go.
Keeping in mind that Devastator picked up gunnery, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, moving on to Game 8, the Dracona Spirits versus the Merrick's Marauders.
They're 0-2 this week.
They're 0-2 versus the Merrick Marauders, who are sitting at 1 win, 0 losses, and 1 tie. I'm not going to call this game. I just know it's going to be a good one. I'll let you guys speak.
The Dracona Spirits. Hungry. I see lots of haunting of the Marauders here. If the Marauders end up being overly cautious, it's going to cost them. If the Marauders are trying to play for a tie or just that squeak out 2-1 victory, I think the Spirits are going to come in and have a 3-2 overall.
This one's going to go to the Spirits. It's going to be going after the Marauders full bore. They want to get some action on the board, get a win in the win column. I think they're going to come out swinging, and the Marauders are going to go down hard. 3-2, definitely.
All right, and to round off our week, we've got Game 9. The Inherjar versus the Executive Outcome. Inherjar are sitting at a 1 loss, 1 tie, I believe, and the Executive Outcomes have a 2-0. They're also one of our top teams. Chris is going to take it to JP. I think it's going to be tight. I think JP is going to be surprised with some of the fury that Chris can throw at him. I'm going to give it a 4-2 win for Executive Outcomes, though.
That's correct. The Einheljar tied Riston's Rogues in week 1. So Riston's Rogues beat me 3-2 this week. I think I'm really excited to see how this one plays out. The executive outcome is looking for a hat trick of wins, but I sure would like to see them drop the ball. I do think it is going to be a 3-1 outcome victory for the executive outcome, but I think the Einheljar are going to make it a painful victory.
This one's going to come down to the skills. Right out of the gate, the executive outcome with bribery is going to get the field advantage. So if the Einheljar can see how they're set up, adapt, improvise, overcome, hopefully get some good hits from that LB10X out of that Emperor with the steady hand skill. It's going to be close, but I'm going to go 3-2, and I'm going to go for the Einheljar. I'm going to go for the Viking boys.
That was great thoughts, everybody. I think we're going to be seeing some exciting games upcoming.
Well, boys and girls, that's it from your 3 mouths of the league. Have yourselves a good week. We'll see you in the stands. Keep your head on a swivel.
Coming at you like a shot to the cockpit. Good night and lights out.